Here I come. Hello, sports fans, sports collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I am your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com, your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. So we are here. We are awaiting a call from our guest. We'll see if he calls in. Hope he does. Otherwise, we can begin talking about some sports cards. And just for all of you listening to the program today, next weekend is the big Northeast Sports Card Expo, which is being held in Massachusetts, in the Quincy area of Massachusetts. And the show is next Saturday and Sunday. And yours truly, the Card King, will be there both days. Not sure if I'm going to have a vendor's table set up yet, possibly on Sunday. Otherwise, I will be there Saturday afternoon and Sunday all day looking for deals, buying people's collections, hoping for walk-ins through the doors. So I will be there on hand at the Quincy, Massachusetts Marriott Hotel. And that's next Saturday and Sunday. And yours truly, the Card King Brian Cataquet, will be walking around with cash, looking for vintage sports cards. I pay cash. I buy anything from 1979 and prior to 1979. So basically anything pre-1979. Bring all your sports cards if you're listening to this show and you happen to be in the Northeast area, and we'll be attending that expo. It's called the Northeast Sports Card Expo. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's one of my best shows that I have done and I have attended. This will be the third time I will be there on hand. And the first time was an excellent show. I got to tell you, it was about close to a year ago in November where I had a table and I set up, and a couple of collectors came to my table and they sold me their collections. The first show, I bought a beautiful collection. It had a lot of Yankee material. It had scarce Mickey Mantle photos and scarce early 1950s New York Yankees stadium stationery, PR stationery that I was able to purchase on hand at this show. That was the first time I did it last year, sometime in November, I believe it was, and it was fantastic and it was jam packed. And then the second time was I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago. I can't remember the date, where the show was being held as well in Quincy 4 or 5 months ago, I believe. And again, I actually set up at that show, and I did the show Saturday and Sunday. And, Saturday was a little slow. I was hoping collectors would come in and come see me and bring me their collections, because I had a lot of cash on hand to purchase their collections. And Saturday was pretty slow. And then Sunday was pretty slow. But, I basically lucked out. Like the last hour on Sunday, the final day of the show, at the Northeast Sports Card Expo, in which a collector came to my table and he had about 5,000 count boxes of vintage sports cards from about 1963 all the way to 1977, I believe, 77, 78. And there was all sorts of mixed sports in these 5,000 count boxes. I mean, there was basketball, football. There was about 1,500 to 2,000 approximately 1975 Topps cards. And what happened was, it was his father's collection, and his father passed away, unfortunately. So he was looking for someone that, had cash on hand and would offer him a price. And, I offered him a price he walked around the room. It was a jam-packed room again. This was at the Northeast Sports Card Expo, jam-packed room. There was a lot of dealers at the Marriott in Quincy. And he walked around and he didn't find someone that would offer him the price he was looking for until he approached my table. It was the last hour of the show. And boy, did I I lucked out. I mean, I was able to give him cash. We did a deal, and I profited greatly from that collection. So I plan to go back this next coming weekend to see if I can make it 3 strikes in a row, three good deals in a row, and hopefully someone will bring me their sports card collection so I can purchase on hand. So make sure if you're in the Northeast to attend. There's going to be autograph signers on hand as well. A couple of shows ago, I met, like I think I mentioned it here before, I met Tito Santana, the wrestler, and a bunch of other celebrities. They'll be on hand. Several celebrities will be on hand next weekend at the Quincy Marriott North Sports Card Expo. Make sure if you're in the Northeast to attend that show. It's a great show, a lot of material, a lot of dealers, and I will be on hand again with cash, the Card King, to buy your card collection, anything pre 1979. Make sure to come see me. I'll be walking around. Other sports card news. There was a 1979 to 1980 OPC hockey case. Now, the OPC, for those that don't know, they were issued, Topps issued this series in Canada, and the 79-80 contains the elusive and the very expensive and the very popular Wayne Gretzky rookie card. Now, a newly discovered full case of 79-80 OPC hockey cards, likely to contain about 24 of the Wayne Gretzky rookie cards, sold at an auction for $3.72 million. This was about 3 weeks ago, approximately 3 weeks ago. And I got to tell you this, which was really surprising. Last Sunday, I did a sports card. I was set up at a sports card show in New Jersey. And this young kid who I love when I'm doing these card shows, I really love seeing the young kids that come to my table and they like to buy the vintage cards because, it reminds me of my youth. And I love to see the new generation of collectors, they're getting into the old material. So I love seeing that. But I had this young kid, he must have been about 13, 14 years old. And he's walking around and he asked me if I would take a look at his cards. He had a little briefcase. He took out his cards and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He pulled out a 79-80 OPC Wayne Gretzky card. And I took a picture of this on my cell phone. This was a 14-year-old kid. And I couldn't believe my eyes. It was graded Gem Mint 10. Now, at first glance of the card, I thought the card was a reprint, but it was graded by the company PSA, graded 10 Gem Mint. I asked this kid, he was about 13, 14 years old. He came to my table in New Jersey. It was at a Hampton Inn hotel in New Jersey. And I asked him, where did you get this card? And he said he opened up packs. He was given packs as a gift during the holidays of this series. And the packs are not cheap. I just told you that a newly discovered case of 79-80 OPC sold about approximately 3-4 weeks ago for $3.72 million because of the Wayne Gretzky rookie. So this kid had a Gem Mint 10 Wayne Gretzky rookie card OPC. So I asked him, how much is this card worth? He looked on his cell phone. He took a screenshot of that card that he was holding in his hands, which I was looking at. One sold in 2022 for over $1 million. I could not believe this kid, 13, 14 years old, was walking around with a briefcase and had this PSA Gem Mint 10, which sold in 2022 for over $1 million. And, I told the kid, you're walking around with this in your briefcase. You got to put this in a vault, in a bank vault or something. If you look at some of the Wayne Gretzky rookie cards from 79-80, if you currently Google them online, you can find some for about $75,000. And, they absolutely went down in price from that $1 million sale in 2022, but still, this kid is walking around the show with this Wayne Gretzky Gem Mint PSA 10 card, one that sold the same condition card sold in 2022 for over $1 million. I mean, it was remarkable what I was seeing. I never, to be honest with you, in my life of 35, 40 years of doing this, I've held in my hands a low grade T206 Honus Wagner card. I held it in my hands. I never owned one. It's too expensive for me. But I used to work with a prominent dealer in his auction company when I was in my mid-20s, about 25 years ago, and I was able to hold in my hand his personal T206 Honus Wagner card. I mean, it was a low-grade one, but I've never held in my hand a card that sold for over $1 million until last Sunday at the Hampton Inn in New Jersey Sports Card Show, when approximately a 14-year-old kid was carrying around a PSA 10 Gem Mint 1979-80 OPC Wayne Gretzky card. I mean, that's really remarkable. So this is some news about, since I'm on this topic, as I mentioned, one case sold at auction 3 to 4 weeks ago for close to $4 million, and an unopened case which possibly containing at least 25 Wayne Gretzky rookie cards. And that's, through my shows also, last Saturday I was in Oaks, Pennsylvania for the Philly show. So I was busy last weekend. Saturday I attended the Philly Sports Card Convention, which is the best sports card convention, no question about it, on the East Coast. It's held in Oaks, Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia Sports Card Show. And I was there Saturday. I've been busy there Saturday. And then Sunday, as I mentioned, I did the show at the Hampton Inn in New Jersey. But Saturday, when I attended the Philly show, I approached several dealers at the show, and I was asking them, because I want to know what sells for them at these shows. Like what's the hottest trend going to these shows. And I must have approached about 8 or 9 dealers at the Philly show, and three or four of those dealers told me that everyone for some reason is looking for the 79-80 Wayne Gretzky card. So there is a trend. I don't know. I mean, we all know Wayne Gretzky, arguably the greatest hockey player of all time. His rookie card is 79-80. They made him in 2 versions. I mean, they made the Topps issue, which was produced in America, the American Topps issue, the 79-80 American Topps issue. And then they also, Topps also printed cards in Canada, and that's called the OPC cards. Now, the OPC cards in America are more scarcer, in my opinion, than the Topps cards in this country, because, obviously we're not in Canada. So if you find anything OPC related, Wayne Gretzky from the early 1980s, and they're out there. If you go to these card shows, they're out there. If there are dealers that specifically deal in hockey material, and they have great inventory of many of the hockey stars. And I would go after the early 80s Wayne Gretzky cards, because at this Philly show, a lot of these dealers were telling me that that's a major seller for them. So through my travels now, I'm going to look for high grade 81, 82, 83, 84 Wayne Gretzky cards. I'm going to look for them ungraded. If I see a high grade sample of one, I'm going to purchase them. I'm going to purchase as many as I can. And I'm going to send them out to get graded, because right now the trend is, for some reason, Wayne Gretzky early 80 material. And that's where I would start looking at, if you're doing this, to profit, or you want to do this to make extra, as an extra hustle, or you want to do this just to, just if you're a hockey fan, if you're a sports fan and you want to put the card away as an investment, as a commodity in a few years. You never know what can happen in a few years. I mean, someone could lose their job. Someone, can go through tough times, and you have your cards in which you can consign. You can consign to auction houses, or you could sell them yourself on Facebook Marketplace, which has been very hot for me lately. Facebook Marketplace, as everyone knows about eBay, you can do a side hustle right in your own room by yourself, taking a snapshot photo of your cards and just generating some revenue as a side hustle. So I would just start investing in these early OPC hockey cards, 1979, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. Look for them in tip-top shape. You want to make sure they have 4 sharp corners. You also want to make sure that they have a nice clear image, color image on the card. You want to turn to the back of the card as well. I've mentioned this in my previous shows, maybe a year or two ago. You want to turn to the back of the card, make sure the centering is right before you send these cards out to get graded, because all of these count for hopefully getting, when you submit these cards, all of these attributes that I just mentioned: clear gloss, 4 sharp corners, centering, clear border image on the cards, clear border color image, making sure there's no scuffs on the cards. All these attributes, when you are submitting the cards you purchase to get graded, all these attributes will determine what the card will grade upon its return to you. And again, if you get anything gem mint, that's where the money is. I mean, that's where the market has been going. You want to also make sure that you submit these cards to major grading card companies. There's a few of them. PSA, which I just mentioned, they've always been the prime example in our industry, PSA. Although I just heard, and I'm not sure if this is true, I just heard rumblings that PSA bought out SGC, SGC was another major card grading company. I have to delve into that and read more about that. I've heard rumblings in the industry that PSA bought out SGC. My opinion on that, I don't know how that's going to manifest. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that, because now, for me, it seems a little confusing, because now if PSA is going to take over the entire industry as the major grading card company, what happens to all those cards that were submitted years ago through SGC? And also, they were submitted years ago and they came back graded, and they're in people's possessions and people's collections. Like, how is that? See, I don't know anything about this, and I would love to get someone on in the near future, maybe someone from either from SGC or PSA. Maybe they'll come on the program and speak about how this transformation is better for the hobby. I don't know. I mean, me as, again, I don't know anything about it. Me as a listener, a spectator, I'm not really a graded card person to say. I like to buy low grade, as I mentioned in the past. I do buy any type of cards if I get a good deal, graded, ungraded. But as far as the grading game or the grading business is concerned, I would love to get someone on. Maybe I will in 3 weeks or so, and just to speak about how is this going to affect all the collectors, because SGC has been in business a long time. And, as I mentioned, all these cards that were submitted through collectors in this business years ago have come back, and they are all slabbed in SGC cases, and they all have serial numbers on each card. And you can go on to their SGC website and type in the serial number on the slab, and you can get the pedigree of the card, its history, and when it was submitted, and etc., as proof that it's a legitimate SGC graded card. So I don't know how this is going to work out. PSA taking over SGC, and how how that will affect all these graded SGC cards. Must be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of graded SGC cards out there, because SGC has been in business a long time, and they were the number 2 in the business, in my opinion. Everyone knows PSA is the number 1 grading card company. Number 2 was always SGC, and you can argue number 3 is Beckett. Those are the 3 major grading card companies. So if you are listening to the program and you are a casual collector, not in the business, you just like to buy occasionally and put away for future investments, PSA is the number 1. SGC was always number 2 in ranking as far as grading card companies. And Beckett Grading, Beckett has been around forever. They've been around since the 1980s or 80s, not as a grading company, but with their publications back in the early 80s, even 79, 80, 81, I believe, something like that. Beckett has been around forever. And, they got into the grading card business decades ago, and they're the number 3 grading card company. So those are the 3 major players if you're planning to get your cards graded. Now there's also other grading companies that have also gotten into the mix, and I got to tell you that ISA, I've been very happy. A grading company called ISA, and if you want to look this up, you can just Google ISA Sports Cards Grading Card Company. And, the first time I heard about ISA was at the East Coast National. I think it was 3 years ago. And one thing that attracted me to ISA, there's a couple of things that attracted me to ISA. When I attended the East Coast National, this was held in upper state New York about three years ago. ISA was set up and they were marketing their grading card company, and they had samples on their table with a bunch of sports cards, modern sports cards, but they were all slabbed in their ISA cases. So they were using it as a marketing tool, just so everyone can get a feel of how they look in the cases. And they were giving out, boxes and boxes of free cards. And I thought that was a brilliant marketing plan. And that's kind of what attracted me to their table 3 years ago. And, ISA also, they were very, very nice to me when I met them, because I asked them if they can send me a couple of boxes of graded cards so I can have on my table when I was doing the flea markets, because I really liked their cases. They have the blue top. If you look at an ISA case, their slab case, I really like their blue color border on the top of their cases. But ISA was very, very cordial to me. I asked them if I can get a few samples, if they can mail me a few samples of their cards so I can put on my Twitter feed, and I can kind of market some of their cards for them through my flea market shows. And to my surprise, they sent me a FedEx box with I would say probably about 40 or 50 free cards, all graded by them, by the ISA company. I emailed them. I said, I really appreciate it. How much do I owe you? They said, don't worry about it. So those two situations really attracted me to ISA. And, another thing that I like about ISA, as in my opinion, as far as the other 3 companies that I mentioned, PSA, SGC, Beckett, as far as getting your cards graded, to me, those 3 companies are more strict in their grading, grades. For me, they grade more stricter. ISA, if you're looking to get a card slabbed for authenticity purposes, ISA, I feel that they're less strict in their grading. That's my opinion. For example, I had a tobacco card of Hall of Famer Roger Bresnahan, which I purchased a few weeks ago. The card was graded authentic by one of the companies. I won't mention who it was. It was one of those 3 top companies that I mentioned before. It was graded authentic. I thought the card looked much better. The other companies didn't give this Roger Bresnahan card that I purchased a grade. It was graded authentic. The color on the card was gorgeous. I thought it was much better, and I thought it deserved a grade. So what I did was I had to take it out of that slab. I cracked open the slab. I submitted it to ISA, and sure enough, ISA gave me a grade which I was looking for. And I quote, the grade was graded good, but I wanted this Roger Bresnahan to be slabbed in a case with a grade. I didn't want the card to say authentic. ISA received the card. I had to pay like $30 or $35 to get it graded. And, I had to take a chance. I don't know if ISA would grade it authentic or if they would give me what I was looking for, a grade. And sure enough, it came back. They gave me a grade of good. And that increases the value automatically. A good increases the value on that card more than an authentic. So I've been very happy with ISA. Keep it up. And I wish my guest would have called. Maybe he'll come on in a couple of weeks. Otherwise, I'll see you next weekend at the Quincy Marriott Northeast Sports Card Expo. Until 2 weeks, happy collecting to all.